December 20th, 1942 was a Sunday. On that day, Calcutta's oldest nationalist daily, the Amrita Bazar Patrika, reported that in Burma there was a possibility of the end of defensive warfare on this frontier. The Imperial Tobacco Company appealed to its customers to accept cigarettes without packets in order to alleviate the paper shortage. The government denied a shortage of rice. The Calcutta races, however, went ahead as normal and were graced by the presence of His Excellency the Governor of Bengal and Lady Mary Herbert. Cinemas were featuring Chaplin in Gold Rush. Burchett, the war correspondent, commented, "Dinner jackets and evening dresses, clubs and shining cars, hotel orchestras and cocktail parties, conversations centering around shortage of whiskey and gin, more rigid distinction between various grades of European society than the Hindus with their caste system." Such was Calcutta at the end of the Burma campaign, with the Japs likely to launch an attack on India at any moment. Calcutta, 1942, frontline city. That night, Calcutta was bombed by the Japanese Air Force. The structural damage was minimal, but the panic that ensued was widespread. The official reaction to these first raids on the city was very much along the "we can take it" and business as usual line. The Viceroy was moved to tell Calcutta citizens, "Yours is the first capital city in India to suffer in this war a baptism of fire, and its citizens have provided an admirable example of steadiness and fortitude. Well done, Calcutta." Down among the townspeople, however, things were not quite so sanguine. After the first raid, nervousness broke out on a wide scale. According to Joydeep Sarkar, the raid was devastating and it was a blow to the morale of the inhabitants. Sarkar suggests that 1.5 million people fled, causing a breakdown in the civil services. The Chief Secretary reported that boatmen, boat employees and contract labor all evacuated. Workers from outside Calcutta left in large numbers on foot, both by way of the Grand Trunk Road and the Odisha Trunk Road. He estimated their number at 200,000 to 300,000. In the ensuing days and weeks, some signs of defense began to appear. A number of Hurricane aircraft were moved to Calcutta. Emergency airfields were constructed, including one in the center of the city between Chaurangi and the Maidan. Slit trenches were dug in the same area. In mid-January 1943, there were raids in the industrial areas around the Hooghly River, including the Shahganj factory of Dunlop. There were raids also in Chittagong, Noakhali, Cox's Bazar and Tripura.
Japanese planes bombed Calcutta on December 5th. The rail convoy was bracketed between two heavy incendiary bombs.
On December 5th, 1943, in the first daylight raid, Calcutta was bombed by a comparatively large force of Japanese bombers with fighter support. The raid was especially directed at the Khidirpur docks. The damage was considerable and the casualty rate high. According to the Amrita Bazar Patrika, there were some 500 civilian casualties, of which over a third were fatal.
The damage was concentrated on the dock area. 2 of the bombers were shot down in the Bay of Bengal, and 4 were listed as probable.
Fortunately, this was the last air raid that Calcutta witnessed during the course of the war.